Welcome to VDS Learning School. Today's topic is textile fibers. What are fibers? Fibers are thin thread-like strand from which cloth is being made. Fibers are classified into two types. The first one is the natural fibers and the second one is the man-made fibers or synthetic fibers. So the natural fibers are fibers which are obtained from the plants and animals. For example, cotton from cotton balls, jute from jute plants, silk from the cocoon of silkworms, and wool from the hair of animals like sheep or goat. Synthetic fibers or man-made fibers is that which is being made from different types of polymers. It is not cultivated as the natural fibers. Man-made fibers are manufactured by spinning the polymers. Natural fibers are further divided into two types. One is the plant fibers and the second one is the animal fibers. In the plant fibers, fibers are collected from the seeds, leaves or stem of the plants. These are cellulose-based fibers. Example for plant fibers are cotton, linen, jute and hemp. Now we shall learn about some of the plant fibers. So here we shall learn about the cotton fibers. So take some cotton, pull it apart, look at its edges. The small tiny strands that you see are made up of cotton fibers. Cotton is cultivated in the fields. So to grow cotton plants, we need black soil and warm climates. The fruits of the cotton plants are about the size of a lemon. After maturing, the cotton bolls burst open and the seeds covered with cotton fibers can be seen. The fibers are then separated from the seeds by combing. This process is called ginning of cotton. The second plant fiber is the jute. So jute fiber is being obtained from the stem of the jute plant. Jute is normally cultivated in the rainy seasons. Jute plants are normally harvested when it is at flowering stage. The stems of the harvested plants are immersed in water for a few days. The stems rot and the fibers are separated by hands. So these are the few examples of natural fibers and how they are being obtained. Moving on to the next one, we have got the animal fibers. As I already told you that animal fibers consist of the hair, fur and natural secretion silkworm of an animal. So these animal fibers are protein based fibers. Examples for animal fibers are sheep, Angora goat, camel, yak and silkworm. Now we shall see how silk is being obtained from the silkworm. The process of silk production is called sericulture. The entire production process of silks can be divided into several steps. Silk is the most important animal fiber and the most luxurious type of fiber ever. Animal fibers is the most luxurious type of fiber ever. China is the original home of silk. Now we shall look into the life cycle of the silkworm. Female silk moths lays eggs around 300 to 500 eggs at one point of time. These eggs eventually hatch to form silkworms, which are incubated in a controlled environment until they hatch into larvae or caterpillars. The silkworms feed continuously on a huge amount of mulberry leaves to encourage growth. It takes around 6 weeks to grow to their full potential, about 3 inches. At this time, they will stop eating and begin to raise their heads. That's why they are ready to spin their cocoons. The silkworm will begin spinning its silk cocoons by rotating its body. This process, which takes around 3 to 8 days. Each silkworm produces just one single strand of silk, which measures about 100 meters long, and it is held together by a type of a natural gum called siricin. Once the silkworms have spun their cocoons, they will eventually close themselves inside it, and then it's time to extract the silk threads. The cocoons are placed into boiling water in order to soften and dissolve the gum that is holding to the cocoon together. This is a crucial step in the silk production process as it ensures that there is no damage to the continuity of each thread. Each thread is then carefully reeled from the cocoon in individual long threads, which are then woven on a reel. So that's all about the silk production process. Next, we have got the wool manufacturing process. Wool is a natural fiber composed of proteins as it comes from the fleece of sheep. Wool should be scoured from the fleece of the sheep and other animals like camels, rabbits. The best quality of wool comes from merino sheep found in Australia. The sheep are sheared off their woolen fleece by the shearer. Each adult sheep is shown off sheared once each year. The fleece can be removed using scissors or mechanical fleece removers. After shearing, the wool is sorted. While sorting, wool factors such as the length of the fibers and wool ability of observing the dyes should be considered. After sorting, the main process, souring, is done to remove the impurities in the wool like dust, dirt, and natural oil matters. The process of souring is carried out in a large machine called the souring train. After souring, drying of the wool is done to remove all the moisture in the wool. Then the dried wool is passed through the carding machine where it combs the loose wool fibers into a sheet. The sheet is twisted into a rope called silver. The silver is stretched into a thin yarn. The yarns are wound to form balls of wool. That's all about the wool manufacturing process. Now we shall look at the advantages and disadvantages of the natural fibers. The first one, we have got the advantages. In the advantages, the cloths made by natural fibers are comfortable. The second one is natural fibers absorb moisture. The third one is non-allergic to skin. Whereas disadvantages are natural fibers shrink due to aggressive washing, natural fibers are expensive, natural fibers has variation in length, fineness, etc. Moving on to the next one is the synthetic fibers or man-made fibers. Man-made fibers is that which is made from different types of polymers. It is not cultivated as the natural fibers. When man-made fibers are manufactured by spinning the polymers. Some of the examples of synthetic fibers are polyesters, nylon, rayon, and acrylic. Synthetic fibers derived from coal and petroleum. Synthetic fibers manufacturing processes. Man-made fibers are manufactured by spinning the polymers. Melt spinning uses heat to melt the polymer to a viscosity suitable for extrusion. This type of spinning is used for polymers that are not decomposed or degraded by the temperatures necessary for extrusion. In melt spinning, polymer is heated and it melts to form a liquid spinning solution or dope. Chips of the polymers are fed to a hopper which is heated. There is a grid or sieve at the base which permits only molten liquid to pass through. Then the solution is purified by the filters. The molten polymer is extruded at high pressure and constant rate through a spinneret into a relatively cooler air stream that solidifies the filaments. Finally, the filament yarn either is immediately wound onto bobbins or is further treated for certain desired characteristics or end use. Now we shall look at the advantages and disadvantages of the synthetic fibers. So the advantages of synthetic fibers are strong, they can retain their original shape, so it's easy to wash and wear. They can easily be stretched out. Cloths made from synthetic fibers are generally cheaper than those made by the natural fibers. And disadvantages of synthetic fibers are does not absorb moisture. Chemicals are used in the production of synthetic fibers, which is harmful for skin. The third one, they are not comfortable to wear. And the last one is they easily catch fires. So now we shall look at the comparison of the natural and the synthetic fibers. So the first one is the natural fibers. Natural fibers are obtained from natural sources like plants and animals, whereas the synthetic fibers are man-made and are synthesized in the laboratory for chemicals. The second one we have they absorb water. Synthetic fibers do not absorb water. Natural fibers are quite expensive, whereas synthetic fibers are cheaper. Few examples for natural fibers are cotton and silk, whereas examples for synthetic fibers are nylon and polyester. So that's all about the textile fibers. Hope you have understood it. Please share and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.